Okay. Good morning. Today is April the 16th. It's 8:15. We're going to wait for some people to come into the stream here, and we'll get started. Anyhow, we made all-time highs yesterday. All-time highs. TSM's reporting this morning. On top of that, we have initial jobless claims coming out at 8:30. So we got a lot of things to go over. Good morning. Good morning, Aisha. How are you today? I also have a treat for you in the dashboard segment, which I'm going to show you something new. Good morning, guys. Good morning. I see everybody's starting to come in. We've been on top of this stuff in the pre-market. I'm really looking forward to showing you what I'm kind of seeing here right now. This is TSM that I have up on the charts right now. TSM reported earnings, and they killed it, just like everybody in that sector is doing. They killed it, but the initial reaction was mixed, so to speak. It had that initial first move, which a lot of times. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Aisha, very much. Thank you for saying that. Let me see here. All right. Anyhow, so we had that initial first move, on TSM that was to the upside, and then it started going down to the bottom side. And it killed earnings. And this is something that I really want to kind of stress to you guys to understand, is that it isn't just about whether it beat earnings. It needs to beat, because it'll say, oh, it beat the expectations. The expectations are set by the company. The company will give forward guidance, and if it beats that, then it's considered a beat. But even though it beats that, there's this hidden number somewhere that the stock market says, oh, well, I think this is the real number, and that's why you see, the stock, running up into earnings. Running up to earnings is actually usually a pretty bad sign. Usually means it's going to kind of pull back a little bit at least, because you've already kind of priced in the news, right? So it ran up into earnings, and that's where you want to be careful. Even though it beat earnings, it came and it retested this four-hour high, hit that 4-hour high on the nose and got knocked down. And it was a pretty substantial knockdown, but it's been recovering since, and we'll just have to see how it reacts. So that's the gist on that. I want to recap one thing for you, and that was that I was telling everybody, and I was telling you guys actually this last week, okay? But let me do this. I was telling you guys this last week, but IGV, you see IGV right here? IGV is the sector to be in. It is well above percentage-wise the other sectors, okay? And actually, I just added IBE to my extended sectors because I felt like that was actually where the money was going to flow. Let me give you a scenario about why I felt that was the case. The market's ramping up, right? It's moving really fast, and there's a lot of people got left behind. Hey, I got left behind a little bit too. I was a little conservative about getting back into this market. But what ends up happening is that if people are going to start pulling money out of the winners, this is my theory, okay? This is my thesis. People are going to start pulling money out of the winners, and that includes, by the way, even though the chips are up right now and they're going to continue to roll up, but they're going to start to pull a little bit of money out because you only have so much money, and you remove that money into other areas. And they're looking for stocks that are beaten down and for areas that are beaten down in order to get in on this move. That's my thesis, and that's why I thought that IGV would be up. And when I say it's up, look at this, guys. It's up 11% on the week. That just outpaces everything on the list here by so much. The next highest is Mara, and that's another one that's been kind of beat down, Mara and Bitcoin. So that's not a surprise, okay? So that's following with the theory that the beat down sectors are going to be where you're going to want to actually take a look at moving your money into. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at the futures right now real quick, and we'll get this show on the road. And I'll go ahead and I'll turn off my Zoom. It's got to be a little bit distracting there. Okay. So the futures are semi-green, okay? They're semi-green, and they're flat to green, okay? Oil's flat to green as well. So oil's flat to green as well. And let's see here. The dollar is flat to up. The VIX flat to down. And yields are somewhat flat. So it's really just pretty much a flat day. And this also goes into what I was telling you about before. I expected us to go over top of the high. We've got to get the shorts out of the system. There's no way this market's going to move up without getting the shorts out of the system. We'll go over that in just a second. But I wanted to show you this. We do have coming up in 8 to 9 minutes, the initial jobless claims. You can see that has 3 stars for its magnitude. And then you also have, the manufacturing and the employment indexes. And then we have Williams is going to be speaking in 14 minutes as well. So let's keep an eye around 8:30 on the market. We'll mark the 2-minute high and the 2-minute low as we've done in the past. I'm not sure if this initial jobless claims is going to carry that same kind of weight, but if we see a move, if it ends up being way out of whack and we see a very large move, then then it actually holds precedent. So let's take a look at the Max Payne, because I do think that this has been valuable, and this is part of how I came up with my thesis that we just had to continue to move up. You can see that there's a lot of puts in the system, and this is actually today's. If you look at it right here, this is today's 416s Max Payne. So when you look at this, there's still a lot of puts in the systems, but they're starting to roll off. And actually, if you really paid attention to this from yesterday, now you're starting to see calls come back in the system. And that's what you're looking for if you're looking for, okay, is this actually getting ready to pull back? I'm thinking we're going to continue to melt up. We might see a little bit of a pullback. Remember, this is OPEX week, and Thursday tends to be the day that they've been kind of like redistributing, and you've been seeing a little bit of a pullback. It seems like it's happening one day prior to Friday. Here's your end of the week Max Payne view, and you can see that all of these there's no reason for them to close these shorts, right? They're way out of the money. They're already lost the money, so they might as well hold on to them. They're going to roll off today. All of this is going to roll off today. So that gives a lot of room now then to move to the downside. Now, there's been some movement in next week, though, I've noticed from what I showed you yesterday. And if you are looking at this, I think you're probably seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. The puts, they're still in the system, okay? So there is still a lot of puts in the system. 680 is a very strong put wall if it ends up pulling back to that area, 691. So basically your $10 areas, 690, 680, very, very strong put areas. Your Max Payne is 680, as you can see right here. Max Payne 680. But this is what's different about this now, is all of this right here, right? These calls were not in the system a couple of days ago. These calls, this looked like, the call side over this looked like this, all right? So now you're seeing what we need to see to actually, if it's going to want to pull back. We're still not quite there yet. We're probably still looking at more of a melt up than anything else. So that's kind of the overall synopsis of what we're looking at right there. So on the earnings watch today, we have, let's see here, we have TSM, which I think I was showing that chart when we began the show. Good morning, guys. Good morning. We got the bilingual stock market channel. Alvaro in the chat. Everybody say hi to Alvaro. Anyhow, he put out a great podcast yesterday. If you go to stockchartistry.com, I got meeting notes on that and the link to his podcast. So take a look at it. All right, TSM reported earnings. Okay, just right before we all got together, and then of course Netflix is reporting earnings tonight, and that's going to be really interesting to see. We also have a defensive play right here, PepsiCo reporting earnings. It'd be nice to see how the market reacts to that. So let's take a look. I think that's the big ones right here. TSM was a big one. It's going to affect how NVIDIA trades, and that's the thing that Don Fione and Alvaro were talking about yesterday. Excellent, once again, excellent podcast. Really great information. The technicals and the fundamentals they put out on that is really top notch. Okay, going here back to our charts. This is where I live and breathe, is in the charts, and you guys know that. Actually, let's see here. Yeah, we're going to do the, let me see, I'm trying to find my process here. I'm trying to develop a process. We already did the TSM, so we're going to take a look at the dashboards, guys. I got a really exciting thing that I'm going to do with you. I'm going to show you on the dashboards today. I'm going to show you Thinkorswim mobile alongside of the desktop one. Okay, and this is the first time I've actually tried to do this, so we'll see how this goes. But the benefit of that is I just love this. I love this right here. When you look at this, and I'll zoom this in for you in just a second, but I just love this spark chart right here. This is about what's happening over the last 2 hours, spark chart. And you can't get this on the desktop, and it's actually one of the best spark charts I've seen anywhere. If you're into Thinkorswim, I highly recommend downloading the mobile app. It is top notch. The mobile app is top notch. Let's see what happens when I zoom in, see what my screen looks like. Yeah, and that looks like the way we want to be right there. So gold is, we're kind of flat. And when you look at it, we're only up, well, let's see here. Hold on a second. Am I sorting this by that column there? We want to sort by it. Yeah, we are. Okay. So gold is up slightly, right? It's only up 0.33%. And crude is actually up, but it's really just kind of flat. And then the rest of your stocks are pretty flat, with natural gas, kind of being pulling back down. If you look over here on the spark chart, we look over here, you can see it's just kind of chopping around. But you see this YM, that YM is actually the Dow Jones. It's had a pretty nice uptrend over the last couple hours, and it's kind of like consolidating towards the top of that uptrend, which kind of is a good sign for maybe a bullish breakout. That's why I like these spark charts. I like to see a pattern. I couldn't trade off of these kind of patterns right here. I like to see this kind of a pattern that gives me the indication that maybe I want to go into that stock and take a look at it. And you can see it's trying to make a bullish move right there. And then on top of that RTY, you get a nice downtrend line that you could actually draw off of this on that spark chart right here. And you can say, okay, well, if it breaks that downtrend line, so this is how I actually use the spark chart. In addition, Bitcoin looks like it's kind of, has this little triangle consolidation over the last couple hours. So that is why I like it. It's awesome for intraday trading. Okay, so just wanted to point that out to you. But we're going to continue to use this while we're going down through the dash. Okay, so the VIX is slightly up. Really everything is flat over here in regards to the technicals that drives the market, things like interest rate and stuff like that. Take a look at the ETF markets. Everything's flat except that ARK is leading the way, and that's significant. That's something. Put that in your toolbox, because what that means is it means that if ARK is leading the way, the market is risk on, and it's even risk on to the fact that it's stocks that actually are more riskier than risky. Okay, more than the IWM. So risk on right now in the pre-market profile. S&P sectors. S&P sectors, XLK is leading the way. All the other stocks, this is also significant. I put the SPY on the sectors right here so I can see how the stocks are doing in comparison to the SPY. You can see all the other sectors are actually slightly underneath of the SPY. Once again, guys, this is OPEX week. You know what? A lot of people won't even buy stocks that on OPEX weeks. OPEX weeks are historical for pulling back slightly. So, all these stocks that have been running hot, there's a good opportunity possibly that it will pull back slightly for you. Your SMH is pulling down a little bit, and that's pulling down, I believe, because of the TSM, the reaction to the TSM earnings, right? Let's look over here on our spark charts, pretty much just chopping. XLI is kind of breaking to the low, but then bounced back off of the low. And that's about it for the spark charts. Let's go over to the extended sectors. I love this extended sectors. I feel like they get so much out of this. So IGV, okay, IGV has been leading what? It's been leading all week right here, right? But then on top of that, from the open yesterday, even though it was up before the open, we actually gained 2.85% from the open. And then today in the pre-market, it's gaining it's over 2% up. And it's one of the leaders and continues to be leaders. It's so beaten down that it's going to probably continue to run. So USO is actually kind of running up ahead right now. It's interesting to see that USO meaning kind of like the oil, the American oil. So I use this for trading. I don't trade the futures on oil. That's a very, very volatile trade. Anyhow, China's up as well. China trade is up. Over here on the Spark charts, we're looking at IGV. Look at that, trending up over the last 2 hours. There is hardly any pullback in IGV. GDX is pulling back to the middle of the zone. XLK it's kind of doing a melt up little action here over the last couple hours. DIA, remember that YM chart was actually trending up like this? It looks like maybe some money might come into the industrials today. You know, the money was flowing into the NASDAQ a lot over the last 10 days. I think they had 9 or 10 straight days of floating up. So once again, this might be a play now today where people are like, okay, well, the NASDAQ's already ran. It ran without me. Where can I go to actually pick up a little piece of this action? Sip of coffee. So maybe the DIA is actually going to have some legs today. What else we got down here? Going down to the bottom of the deck right here. Here, I can extend this. I didn't know that. We'll extend it. Going down to the bottom of the deck. IBT is down on the bottom of the deck. That's kind of surprising to me. Okay, I'm sorry, something happened over on the other screen. So IBT is on the bottom of the deck, SMH is on the bottom of the deck. Okay, let's go to the next sector, which is the Mag 7. Oops. Okay, personal. You guys get to see, here's my Mag 7 right here. Mag 7 list. Okay, Microsoft on the top of the list. Microsoft's had a great week. It's up 10.8%. I made a little money off Microsoft yesterday doing some day trades. I think Gorilla with Glasses actually has a swing long on this. Tesla, the beaten down stock, once again, following that idea that they're going to move money into these out of the winners and into the losers. Tesla's just killing it this week. It's up 12%. It had good news yesterday too. I can't tell you exactly what that is, but it's good news. It's a catalyst. And then Meta is up as well. And then Google, which has been just a long-term winner, that continues to be up. Microsoft is kind of trading towards the top of the range. Meta down, kind of went up to the top, has a nice uptrend right there. Apple had a pretty nice day yesterday, but looks like doing a little pullback in the last couple of hours. Going over to the high volume traders, I love this watch list because this lets me know where are people actually putting their money in the beginning of the market. So NVIDIA is way out and above everybody else. It's down in these time frames right now. It had some nice runs. It's up 5% on the week. It's down slightly on the day. That if you're bullish on Microsoft and you want, or not Microsoft, if you're bullish on NVIDIA and you're wanting this thing to run, that's what you want to see. You want to see a slight pullback in the pre-market, and then that's a possibility then that it might actually run on the open. So that's what I look for on that. Intel also continues to run. It's only up 4% on the week, but you can see some of these other stocks, these low market cap, high beta plays, 46%, 50%, 30%, 27%, 25%. Guys, take a screenshot of this right here. I'm going to leave it up for just a second. You take a screenshot of it, and then you'll have that, and you can make that part of your watch list, the high volume leaders for the market for today. Okay. Now let's go ahead and let's go to the gap ups, because I think the gap ups are going to be pretty significant. I kind of skipped this a lot of times, but you got, once again, it's all the low cap stocks. These stocks have been beaten down for the year, and they're just killing it for the week. They look like they're going to continue to have room to run. Pullbacks are probably buyable in these things. So, there's a lot of room for these things to run. Once again, something that goes up quickly comes down quickly as well. So also, if you're wanting to do a swing trade on these, you're going to have to be really careful, because you might wake up one morning and you wouldn't be surprised to be down 10, 15% in a stock. All right, so your volume or your your losers for today, it's Odell, and I don't recognize any of these names, honestly. So there's your losers. Looks like Schwab's is a loser down at 2.16%. And that's it for the pre-market gap or the pre-market dashboard. Hey, if you liked that, if you liked seeing Thinkorswim mobile, put in the chat TOS for me, and then I'll know that that actually is something that you felt was valuable. Let's go ahead and get into the charts. All right, and we're going to start with the SPY just like we always do. So we'll go ahead and quote. Well, this is actually the earnings for today, and so TSM it's kind of starting to float back up. Pepsi looks like they had a little bit of a push up, and then the rest of the stocks we have ABT and Schwab kind of down. Oh, Schwab reported today, that's why they're down. Okay, so that explains that. Let's go ahead and let's put my primary on, and we'll leave this up just in case something happens with the earnings, but we'll go over here and we'll put on the SPY. Well, here's the SPY, and all-time highs on the SPY. How do you like that? All-time highs. And I've got it where I've got all of my indicators off at this time. We're over top of this consolidation range, which was your high was right here at 657. So right now it's just pushing into this area. We're having a nice consolidation right through here. So let's take a look at it on the multi-time frame chart so I can get a view of like, where do I want to actually put our focus? Well, you know what? Let's go into this chart for just a quick second. I'm going to maximize the sell. And so this is your weekly chart right here. And these weekly candles, they're enormous. They're enormous. I would expect, and you don't really see where it just continues like that without actually doing some kind of a comeback like on it. So we have right here where we came down off the bottom. We had this. Let me go ahead and zoom this in. All right, right. Whoops. There. All right, there you go. We had right here, we had this weekly candle right here, huge weekly candle, not that much huge right here. So in a way that doesn't really fit as much, but we had like 3 weekly candles. If you look at the top of that, it came back a little bit into it. This weekly candle, very large, came back into it, very large, came back into it, very large. This next candle right here came right back into it. I'm expecting it could still be very bullish, but I would not be surprised. We've hardly had any overlap. You look at this right here. Here was your top. Here's your overlap. I'm expecting to get some overlap, maybe down even to the middle of this range eventually. Well, probably maybe it'll happen next week. We're going to come into this. We're going to go up and over, come into this, and then we're probably going to push again one more time to get the bears out of the system. You got to get the bears out of the system in order for it to go lower. That's my theory. All right, let's get some numbers for you guys right now. I got a personal commitment at 9 o'clock. I got to get out of this call at 9 o'clock. So I will stop sharp at 9 o'clock. Put in your requests for any tickers that you want me to go over. It's 8:37 right now. So let's see what happened at 8:30 when those numbers came out. And actually, let's pull up those numbers really quick to see what they look like. So let's see here. So the numbers were, all right, on the initial jobless claims, it was only 207,000 and 26 on the Fed manufacturing index. So that was above the numbers. These are actually pretty good numbers. The continuing jobless claims, they fell just slightly over the 1810, which was what we expected. This is really what you probably want to see because you don't want it to be too much one way or too much the other. Too much one way in regards to being like bad numbers. It affects the economy, affects the stock market, but it actually helps, the Fed with maybe deciding to come in with the interest rate, relief. But too good, then the interest rates are off the table. So this is really what you want to see for maintaining the narrative that we're on. We're not going to mark the 2-minute high and the 2-minute low. It's a non-factor right now. So I'm going in here back to the 15-minute chart. All right, I got the wrong flexible view on for you. So I'm going to put this flexible view on. because I think it's a little bit cleaner looking for sharing over the YouTube. That's why I created it for you guys specifically. And this is basically your hourly view right here. And we're looking at, you're going to have to mark the high. There isn't a pivot that we can pull off of because it's just continued to run. All of our pivots are down below. We're above the 20-period moving average, as you can see right here. So we're above the 20-period moving average. But then on top of that, we're continuing to test the top of this range. This is what I expected. I expected us to run into this and then just continue to kind of melt up it. That is not a surprise. So it's doing pretty much what we expected. Wouldn't be surprised to see it eventually kind of maybe even undercut this. But then as we begin to see some support coming up from this 50-period moving average, it'll actually add the additional support, and we're going to continue to melt up. That's my feeling about what's happening over the course of the next week. So the number here is the high of the pre-market, which is 702. Right, and then the other number down here is 699.87. 699.80 is the bottom number there. Just take your high and take your low on that hourly and mark that. Let's go ahead and go into the 15-minute. And that's where I already have the numbers are already marked for us, 701.99. And on the pre-market low, it gets down to 699.82. You also got a snapback down there, and that's for the SPY. You can see the SPY pattern on the 15-minute. It's putting in a little bit of a bear flag on the 15 minutes. You had this bear flag, and then you had, this isn't so much of a bear flag. It came out of the bear flag, and then it bounced up. So it's actually, I would almost consider that like a failure of the bear flag. And in a way, it almost is even you're looking at this right here, this kind of like the pattern right there, and then you had your impulse move down. It's not quite what I call a reverse bear flag, but reverse bear flags are notorious for actually going in the opposite direction and becoming bullish. Here's what you want to do on the 15-minute chart if you want to trade this. That's you right here, and this is you right here. And what is that right there? If you know what that is, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I'm going to give you not 1 minute. I'm going to give you 15 seconds counting down right now while I take a sip of coffee. You want me to look at MU, RGT, IONQ, and Tesla. Okay. That is a bearish rising wedge. It's only bearish on the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, it really is much better when it gets oops, here we go. It's much better when it actually goes a little bit more into the apex and then breaks out, right? So if it breaks out above, a lot of times it'll just run, okay? Because it's not supposed to break out that way, and a lot of people are caught off sides, okay? So be prepared. It could actually break to the high. They do that. They don't always break down to the low, okay? But what will happen is this amount of range right here, and I'm just going to eyeball that amount of range. Let's say it breaks down around here. That's about what you get right there. So that it actually really ends up being this. If you look at it, and this is why I say these patterns are actually continuation patterns rather than reversal patterns. They're only reversal patterns for a very short period of time. It is actually this. You see that? It's actually just recreating your channel. And we just don't have that information yet that actually it's creating a new channel. This is what I call a hidden channel right here. And you can actually do that, in Thinkorswim like this. I'm going to show you how to do it. So if I draw that line right here, and then I duplicate it, got to highlight the line and then say duplicate that line, and I pull it down to here. No, I'm sorry, not down to there, down to here, because that's actually the active channel. This is the hidden channel right here. There's your hidden channel. Then if I also then pull up my wedge, that's what you're looking at on this. So there you go. And that's how these things end up working out. So let's go. I want to take all of those off. And what we're going to do right now, then we're going to go into the Mag 7, take a quick look at them, and then I'm going to do your lightning round, and then I'm going to take your request. So let's go ahead and change this over to the Mag 7. The Mag 7 is Well, Microsoft's just killing it. Microsoft's killing it. Tesla's still doing good. Meta, we had a request for Tesla, so it'll be good. We'll have that on the docket. So here comes Microsoft. How are we doing on time? It's 8:44. How are we doing in the chat? Everybody's hanging out in the chat. It's good to see you guys out here. Let's see here. Got 20 people out there on my live stream. I thank you guys so much. You know, I just started this recently, and you guys have been incredibly supportive. Look at Microsoft, boy. This 24-hour move. I put it on 24-hour because we're in the pre-market, but it's the closest thing you can get to like daily candles without, so you could show the pre-market. I had that it was going to possibly the first target right here. It looks like it's not even going to hit that second target, so I'm going to take that off, and let me see. I'm going to take that off. There's no sense in showing it anymore. It hit the target. In fact, actually, we don't even need to see that it hit the target. All right, I apologize. I'm still learning how to use this Zoom thing. But I think the Zoom actually adds a lot of value for you because then you can see the numbers. Anyhow, I am going to zoom in here for just a second because I want to look at this right here. So what we put in right here was a snapback low over here, as you can see. Let's go ahead and take zoom off. Put a snapback low in right here. And it's actually running up to that snapback low. In the 24-hour chart, we also put in a snapback high. So this is a very important area for you right here. That's in the 419, and this is a 24-hour chart, so it's going to have some room, some span there. And this is for like swing traders or investors. You might want to wait for it to actually kind of hit off of that and come back into here. I love to buy after red candles have actually been done with. So, for example, I would have liked to have bought, I would have liked to have had this right here and then buy off of that. And then I love actually when it actually does this where it goes up here. It goes up and over, then it does a retest on that trend line, and then it goes up and over. Now you've proven that that buyer there, they're strong and they're wanting to accumulate position. So this is the accumulation phase right here, and then this is the expansion phase. So this stock here is now in the expansion phase. I find that I make more money. I tend to make more money buying after it's actually broken off the red candles. So right now, what you're looking for, it would be great if it would actually just put in a red candle for today, even a little tiny red candle. When it puts in a red candle, then you can actually use what we would call like a red over green or green over red. And I'm showing white candles because it's a little bit clearer, but here's an example of that, okay? So that you can see how to actually trade this. You see how you got your downtrend line right here? That's a beautiful, beautiful example. And then you see how you have your red candle right there. It didn't do a very good job of the horizontal line. Red candles right there. And then once this goes green, it goes green over red right here, plus it captured that moving average, you're in business, okay? Now you put your stop loss down below the low. You even have a very nice wick here. I mean, looking at this and capturing that 20-period moving average, that actually was the trade to get into on a swing trade. Call out to Don Fione if you got in at that spot. Love a great entry. That is a great entry if you guys want to know what a great entry looks like on a daily time frame. Okay, going over here, let's take a look on the hourly. Basically, we're looking at the high of the day. The trading range, it looks like it's trading up towards the top of the range. You got your snapback. You got your pre-market low is down here at 415 area. It's over top of the prior day high. It's actually in the middle of well, no, it's not in the middle. Let's see where it's at. Let's go ahead and draw in our trading range as we've done in the past. It's been very informative for how is it going to open, right? So we're opening now towards the top, okay? So buyer beware, opening towards the top. But if it gets down into the middle or maybe even breaks down underneath of this middle a little bit, if it comes down and maybe it comes down and breaks down a little bit below that and then comes back and recaptures, we could be actually off to the races on this, okay? If you do want to take this thing long, That's terrible drawings. It's freestyle. I can't draw freestyle in this program. You want to take this thing long, that's you on the long right there. So that's the long. Once again, pre-market high, pre-market low. I can't stress it enough. Pre-market high is 419.75, and then your pre-market low is 415.80. Okay, pre-market high, pre-market low. All right, going over to Tesla, and let's take a look at it on the multi-time frame. On the multi-time frame, beautiful breakout out of that channel, isn't it? Let's turn off the indicators for now. Beautiful, beautiful breakout. Look at this bar. That's the kind of bar you want to see. That's an impulsive, they call that an impulsive breakout. Now, if we're seeing a consolidation right along here, mark the bottom of the consolidation, the top of the consolidation, and then when it breaks the top of the consolidation, and I do say when because I'm kind of thinking that in my thesis, this is one of the ones that's beaten down. Wouldn't be surprised to see it come back into the middle of this range. I think what would be actually helpful on this stock actually is to pull a Fibonacci on this stock. So actually, let's do that. I'm going to pull a fib retracement from the high right here down to the low. And so your the area where you might see a turnaround is going to be around the 418. And this is the pocket right here to 437. 418 to 437 on Tesla if you're wanting to swing trade that. Let's take a look over here. And I'm going to go ahead and maximize the sell again. And so you have a snapback right here, as you can see on this candle. And where are we at? We're over top. All of this trading is over top of that snapback. If it continues to hold that snapback at 394.99, 395 essentially is your snapback. You also got a pincher move on this. Oh, I love this. The pincher move is when the 20, especially the 20 period moving average, 20 period moving average is running into, turn this off for a second. It's running into this resistance right here. That was resistance, okay? When you look right here, it was resistance, 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 resistance. It then became support, 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 support. And what do we have going on? The 20 period is now moving into that. Price is pinching into that 20 period. It's pinching into this support. And now this is actually, put this one on your list as a possible day trade. Or if you want to get into this, this might not be a bad entry for you. Go green over red on this on the hourly is a very good play, I would think, on this as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this on the 15-minute chart. How are we doing on time? 8:52. As usual, I'm running over, so I'm probably not going to get to some of the other Mag 7 stocks. We're in the middle of the pre-market high and the pre-market low. It's pulling back into the pre-market low, as you can see. That is good. That's what you want to see if you're bullish on this. The stock's been bullish for the week. Once again, today is a day that you could see pullbacks too. So this could end up snapping underneath of that snapback on the 15-minute, retest it, and then go lower, right? And then what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at right about here. You have support 386.87 area. And I'm saying that because once it starts ripping down, especially if it's in the beginning part of the market, it's not gonna hit it to the penny a lot of times. It'll undercut. It loves to undercut. You see all these pivots right here and how it undercut and then it ran back up. That's bullish. You have your marker set. You don't have to buy right there as soon as it hits, right? You say, okay, it hit. Now let me see if it goes under. If it goes under and comes back over, that's when you buy. And then you set your stop loss. It already took out. Don't be the one who's getting taken out on the stop loss. And then when they rip it down under and take it over, you're the person saying, son of a gun, I knew it was going to go up. I've been that person, so that's why I'm kind of talking about it like that. Anyhow, don't be that person. Let's not be that person. Right now, it's pulling back into that. That's actually That's actually very helpful for the bullish side of that. All right, I'm going to actually go over to what you guys had asked me for. You asked me for Tesla. I wasn't able to do that, so I got one of yours in for Tesla, but it looks like Kia Rica looks like you asked for MU. Let's take a look at MU Micron. I haven't looked at this chart in a while, so it's going to be interesting to see. You can see that I drew in a regression channel on this on the daily over here. It came back, it ripped out of the regression channel. This is something too that I've mentioned before. On these overshoots where you draw, say you draw in a channel on that, I find there's this idea of equilibrium that happens in the stock market where it actually then does the exact same thing down on the bottom. You have this huge overshoot to the top. Then when it starts ripping down, especially when you have this kind of momentum, coming down into the bottom right here, it just rips underneath. So that's something to think about when you're doing your charting, to kind of think about that as well. But, we could actually, put on another trend line right across the top there. And it looks to me like, honestly, like this is, let's do this. I'm going to show you guys this. Let's go ahead and put on a positive 3 and a negative 3 on this and see what happens. Yeah, isn't that interesting? It's on the third level of deviation coming out of that downward regression channel. Overall, it's an uptrend. Don't get me wrong. You see that? That is an uptrend, okay? But it is kind of like faltering in this whole area right here. And this kind of speaks to my narrative about the fact that these winners, I'm very cautionary towards these winners right now. I just don't know how much more they can run. They've ran and ran and ran. They're running ahead of earnings. Might be time to just give something a little bit back. It wouldn't even hurt for it to give back going into this trend line right here. But a give back into that trend line is going to take you all the way down from 450 down to 350. And it's going to feel very bearish. And if you look, it happens. It does happen. So that's your daily chart right there. So if you're wanting to day trade this, here's your levels. If you're wanting to get in this in the long term in regards to a buy, I would be cautionary. And if you're wanting to swing it or to swing short it, I think you might actually have some opportunity, but I wouldn't do it yet. There has not been a sell signal on it. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our numbers. Our number is 439.50. You see that number right there? And you got 464 at the top and 468. Those are your pivot numbers. And then you have a snapback low here at 441. And I just remembered that I didn't actually upsize the text on this stuff for you. So I'll make sure I do that in the future. I forgot. All right. That's your numbers on the hourly. And then on 15-minute. Your pre-market low is 441. Your pre-market high is 458. You're seeing a lot of chop action between there. You basically have two balance ranges here that I can see. You have an upper balance range right here, and you have a lower balance range right here. So you got a double balance range going on right here. It's trading now. It had an impulse move down. It traded up to the middle of that range. It looks like it's wanting to go down right here to that range. If it breaks down below, it's probably going to see a little bit of a pullback today. If you break back above because of the alternating rule, it probably you're going to see something like this, where then it's going to return to the top of that channel. So that's my prognostication for that. And I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do Palantir. I got 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to have to cut it out. I got to run. I got family visiting up here in the Dominican Republic. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys visit as well. So let's see here. PLTR. Oh. There we go. PLTR. Oop. TR. This is what I forgot to do, by the way. If you go into settings, you can change your look and feel. I got set to medium. I'm going to change it to large so you can see the numbers a little bit better. So what are we looking at on Palantir? So what are we looking at? There we go. It was taking a second to adjust. All right. We are coming out of this bullish falling wedge, and we had a rip out. We didn't get much, and the reason why we didn't really get enough, it didn't compress enough. If you look at that, I would have wanted to get a little more into that apex. Also, if you're looking at this too, the angle on this is really, it's really steep. Look at that angle; it's incredibly steep. I would prefer to see like your falling wedges kind of more along this kind of an angle, right? And then I want to see price action kind of bouncing into this area and then busting out. So that's really what you'd kind of like look for on that. It busted out too early. It was premature. You got yourself, you're in like another downtrend right here. And actually it's time to redraw that line. So we have more information, more market generated information. And now we're going to change this from that line to, just going to activate it to this line. And basically, here, let me pull this out some more. Basically, it's pretty much your channel. It's the hidden channel hidden channel effect that we talked about right there. So if you look right there, that's your channel. Turn that off, right? It's in a downward channel. It is in a downward channel. You're having a very nice move right now, but this move is limited to about 150 in my projection. It's going to have some problems in this area right here. 148.50, there's the top of your hidden channel. Well, it's no longer hidden. See, if it didn't put that in, then it would have been hidden, right? Then you'd actually, once again, you just duplicate this and you pull it over. It's duplicated. I'm going to activate it. And then pull it over, and there you are with your hidden channel, right? So that's how you actually create hidden channels. Here we are. The bottom here is 142.75. That's your pre-market low. Pre-market high 144.78. Guys, I really appreciate you. I'm going to be out of pocket all day today. I won't be in the Discord. Can't go over CRWV. I'll try to get through that next time. I'm trying to find a way to go over more stocks in the pre-market, but I also want to give you guys back time to actually get in and prepare for the pre-market now that you have this information. Look for pullbacks in the stocks that are in the IGV. We didn't have a chance to do the lightning round today. Have a great day and good luck to you. Stay green.